Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a Git Drupal workflow. So if you're here, you probably have some familiarity with what Git is, a revision control system, distributed revision control system that is, which allows multiple people to collaborate on a project. But a lot of times people just use it in a single developer's environment. So what we're talking about doing here with this workflow is establishing something where multiple developers can come together and create features that get merged into a project ultimately. And then also you're probably familiar with Drupal, which is a content management system for the web. So why do we want a standard workflow? Again, it goes back to that reason for having multiple developers. If you have multiple people committing to a single branch on a Git revision control system, they're going to start stepping on each other's toes. You're going to have a lot of merge conflicts, a lot of issues like that. Whereas if you break it down into smaller tasks, like having features and hotfixes and branches broken out separately, you can actually avoid a lot of those merge conflicts that you would otherwise run into. So I've based this work on an article by Vincent and Driessen called A Successful Git Branching Model. The idea centers around two infinite lifetime branches. First, there's a master branch, which is considered your production branch. This is what's ready at all times for a user. And then you have your stage branch, which is your development branch in essence. It is where all that work gets merged together that someone does on the three transient branches, the features, release, and hotfix branches. And these transient branches have a lifetime that's limited to the relevant task. So for example, if we wanted to add a Bootstrap feature to our Drupal site, for the theme that is, all the relevant tasks would be related to getting that Bootstrap theme up and running. And as soon as we've completed those tasks, we would be able to close out that feature and merge it back with the stage branch. And then also another important feature, or another important aspect of this workflow is that the history of all these transient branches are preserved. So you can always go back and see, hey, what was done for this particular feature, what particular commits were accomplished in order to make this feature happen. So here we have a diagram of what a Git branch network would look like after a few development cycles with this workflow we're describing here today. So again, you see we have this master branch that's always production ready. Then we have this staging branch that's always kind of a preparation stage for production. And then we have these transient branches, the feature branch, the release branch, and the hotfix branch, that pretty much all contribute to both the stage and the master branch. And you see that they have a limited lifetime, so they only live for so long. They start up for a particular reason, and then they end because that reason expired. It was basically accomplished. And we'll dig into how to create a feature branch, a release branch, and a hotfix branch in the following topics. Alright, before we get started, I'm making the assumption that you've gone through and we're successfully able to clone our project. I have a screencast on that, the cloning and setting up Drupal with Vagrant Drupal development, or the VDD. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, let's make sure that we have the latest version of the content management system. So I've CD'd into the content management system, which is under the VDD folder that we have, and we can quickly get an idea of what current branches we are under by using the git branch command. And immediately when we run the command, we see that we're under a detached head that's shown there, highlighted in green, and then we also have the master branch. We want to make sure that we switch that master branch and do a fresh pull, or we can actually do a fetch and then get our check out the latest stage branch as well, which is what we'll want to do. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. So first we will switch to the master branch. Alright, and then we can do a quick git branch again to see that now our detached head is gone, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. But to make sure that we have the latest version of the master branch, let's go ahead and do a git fetch. And that's going to fetch from the origin out there at GitHub. And then we also want to git check out our stage branch. And that will give us both of our infinite lifetime branches that we have out there. So that production branch, the master, and that development branch, the stage branch. So we can see that we have both of those now, and we should be ready to roll with the rest of the examples. Okay, so we'll jump into our first scenario here. So we're going to have an example where we want to add the Bootstrap theme to our Drupal site. This requires us to add the Bootstrap module and any dependencies that are on there. So first, let's walk through what you do to add a new feature branch. First of all, you're going to be branching from the existing stage branch and then doing some work and then merging that work back into the stage branch. You can call your new feature branch anything, except you can't have the keyword master or stage, and you can't start it off with release or hotfix. So to get started, we would simply run the command git checkout with the -b switch on there, and then the name of the new feature branch that we're creating. So in this case it would be Bootstrap module, something to that effect. And then we have the name of the branch that we are branching from, in this case the stage branch. Then the next part is to actually do the work, actually go ahead and add the new feature. So in this case it's just simply running some Drush commands to download and enable new modules. Commit those changes, and then once that's all done, the next step is to actually merge those changes with the stage branch to bring it into that development environment, basically. So to do that, we simply switch to the stage branch. Then we would run a merge command with the no fast forward flag. And what that's doing, that's the command, that's the switch that's actually preserving your history on your feature, so you can always go back and see what commits occurred during the development of this feature. And then finally the name of the branch that we developed, or that we just got done creating and contributing to. The next command simply deletes that existing branch. So we've already merged it into stage, so we've saved it, and all of our work is now in that stage branch. And then finally we push that up to our central repository so that other developers can pull down this new feature in their local development environments. So to actually bring that to code, or to the command line, I can go ahead and show you what this might look like. So for starters, we're on the local environment down here where we have the full access to the git commands, the git repository. So we're going to check out that new branch. Yep. I'm going to call it Bootstrap theme, I should say. It's not really a module per se. And that's the name of the new feature we're adding, and we're going to pull from the latest stage branch. Alright, so now you see the git has told us, hey, we've switched to a new branch, and we've also created that Bootstrap theme branch. So now that that's done, we actually go in and do our work. And so in order to do that, we're going to switch to the VDD, or the Vagrant Drupal development environment, and do some of our run some of our Drush commands to enable this new theme. Now we can run the Drush commands to download the Bootstrap theme, and what this will do will automatically know exactly where to place this as a theme using that machine name Bootstrap. So take a moment there, download it, and put it in the proper place, so you can see that it is now placed in the All Themes Bootstrap directory. And then we can go ahead and enable this feature. So we'll simply run drush, if we spell it right, drush enable Bootstrap. Alright, we really want to do that. Okay, so that was successfully enabled. So now you can see our original site with the existing theme on there, just the Bartik theme. But you can also see now that, hey, we have a Bootstrap theme available to be enabled. So that's fantastic. So let's go ahead and set the default theme to Bootstrap and see what happens. Okay, says it was successful. And let's refresh this page here. Alright, so we can see that we do have, in fact, Bootstrap here. So you can kind of see how it's laid out. Obviously we have some tweaking to do of our content. But regardless, let's take a look at the Bootstrap settings here. So we go here, and we actually see that there's a warning or an error, I suppose, that jQuery update is not enabled. So we look at this link here, and we see that there's a jQuery update module we can add, and this link that I'm hovering over here, you can see at the very bottom, it maps the machine name jQuery update. So we want to make sure that we get that loaded into our system to make sure that Bootstrap is fully capable once we get this up and running in production. But first, before we do that, we need to make sure that we just committed what we changed, because we just actually made a single step here of adding that Bootstrap module. So let's document that by going back to our local environment and adding this new commit under our current branch. So we can see by running the git status command that we have that we're currently on the Bootstrap theme branch, and that we have some untracked files, and these all fall under the sites directory. So we can simply add those to be tracked by calling the git add sites, which is just the very first part of the directory. Git knows to automatically add everything under that directory to its tracking. So now we can go back to git status and see that all those files that we just added are now tracked. Now we want to run the commit, git commit -m, and our message will simply be that, hey, we added the Bootstrap theme. So now if for some reason we really wanted to remove that Bootstrap theme, we could simply revert this commit and pull it out of our baseline. Alright, and so we can see that now we've committed that. So now let's go back and fix that issue we had with jQuery. So we're going to run the we're going to add the jQuery module. So we're going to do the same exact thing by downloading jQuery update using that machine name that we saw in the URL. That should run pretty easily. Give it just a second here. Okay, and then again it places it into our different directory this time. It's actually the modules directory, since it's not a theme this time. And then we want to enable that, so we'll simply say drush enable jQuery update. Alright, yes, we do want to enable that. Alright, so that was successful, and then we go back to our website and we can try to refresh this, and I think that we're still going to get the error because there's something kind of strange here with the way that this module actually updates. So let's go to modules real quick. We'll go to the jQuery module and simply just save its configuration, and then come back to the appearance. Scroll all the way down. This is why Drush is so awesome. And we see, okay, we are set to the default 1.10, and we're going to use the default specified here. Let's use a minified version of it. That's great. So save the configuration. So no changes there. Alright, now let's go back to appearance and see if we still get that error. under Bootstrap 3. And we no longer do. So it looks like Bootstrap 3 is ready to go and ready to be fully used here. And so as you can see, it's still there, and we still have some tweaking of our layout to perform. But now we've gone ahead and added new files again, this time adding that dependency for the jQuery update. So we need to go back to our local environment and commit those changes as well. So we can do the git status command again and see, hey, there are new files under sites and the jQuery update module. So let's add those again using that shortcut sites. Then our commit statement is simply going to be, hey, I added jQuery update module as dependency to Bootstrap theme. Alright, and now we are good to go in terms of our Bootstrap capability. So we basically finished that feature, and everything has been committed to our Git repository under the Bootstrap theme branch that we created. So again, we can take a look at our branches and say, oh, okay, we have our Bootstrap theme that we're currently in, and that's only here on this local system that we've done the development on, but we still have the master and the stage. So we need to get these changes out there to the public where they can actually be used by a developer in the future. So to do that, we need to go ahead and merge our changes into the staging branch, which we'll go ahead and do now with the following commands. So first, we're going to switch to the stage branch. Okay, that was successful. Then we're going to merge our existing branch with the no fast forward flag. And again, what this no fast forward flag is doing is it's preserving the history of all those commits on the Bootstrap theme, so we can go back and figure out, hey, what did we actually add when we were working on this Bootstrap theme branch, instead of Git trying to be smart and merge into a single branch. It helps us go back and find that history on that particular branch. So then we specify the name of the branch. In this case, we can use a tab completion to figure out the name. It was Bootstrap theme. Okay, so we're going to merge that, and we have a merge statement which we ultimately have to make. So it can just be as simple as, hey, I'm merging the Bootstrap theme into stage, which is the default statement that you're going to get. If you want to add any comments, this is the place to do it, and you can change your editor here from VI to something else you're more comfortable with, like even a notepad text editor or something to that effect. But in this case, we just save that message, and it goes ahead and merges all of our work into that stage branch. The next step is we still have that Bootstrap theme branch sitting out there, that feature branch, and we want to delete that because we've committed it and merged it into our staging environment. So git branch -delete Bootstrap theme. So again, tab completion to get the name of that module. Makes it easier for me to type that up. Alright, so I deleted the branch, so now I no longer have that branch in my local environment. And so now you can see that we're back to a clean development environment where we just have the master and the stage, except our stage branch is now ahead of our origin, so the head of that central repository by 3 commits. So we need to finally go ahead and push that out to the central repository so that all of our other developers can pull this down. So we're just going to run the git push, and then that's going to go to the origin stage branch. So again, just pushing out what we currently have to that central repository on GitHub. And then we have no issues there. Alright, so it goes ahead and updates stage and does its magic. Now we've successfully added a new feature to our site, which anyone can now pull down from our GitHub site. Our next topic is that of release branches. The release branch always comes off of the stage, then it merges back into the stage and the master when it's completed. The naming convention for a release branch is release-x.y.z, where X represents the major version of the software. So this is like any new platforms that you're adding, huge changes to the baseline. Y are any minor changes, like adding a new module, adding some minor features, and Z is a hotfix, where it's something that was just introduced as an error and we're fixing on the fly kind of thing. In order to create a release branch, we run the following set of commands. The first command is just a simple git checkout-b command, which creates and checks out the new release that we're creating here. And it always branches off of that stage branch again. The echo command here simply appends a readme.md file, which is the standard file that GitHub uses to publish current data on a project out there on GitHub. The git commit-am here simply commits that readme.md file and puts a message attached to that stating, hey, we just released a new version of this project. At this point, any minor hotfixes, any errors that have been introduced before you're ready to fully publish this release would get fixed. So this is only going to be minor things. You don't do any new features at this point, nothing like that. Only things that might have been oversights earlier on that you need to correct immediately before release. So once any hotfixes are addressed, the next step is to run the git checkout master. So we are switching to the master branch, the production branch, and then we're going to go ahead and merge the release with the no fast forward flag into that master branch that we just checked out. And at this point we use the git tag command to annotate the current version number, which is going to be represented by that x.y.z that we talked about earlier. The next step is to go ahead and do the same thing for the development or the stage branch. So you're going to check out stage, then you're going to merge the release branch with the no fast forward flag into that staging branch. And then finally, once that's all accomplished, all you have to do is delete that release, and now because we've already merged it into both the master and the stage branches, we no longer have a need to hold on to this release version. So without further ado, of course we would have to push this up using the git push origin master and the git push origin origin stage commands as well. We'll explain that as we go ahead and publish a new release in our example here. So let's go ahead and create a new release based on this Bootstrap module that we just added. So the first thing we're going to do is perform a git checkout -b release -0, because we aren't publishing this as an official release. We're kind of considering this a current beta project. .1.0. So we don't have any hotfixes applied currently, and we have only one minor version increment on that we're trying to push up. And we are doing this from the stage branch. Alright, so we created a new release 0.1.0, and we've switched to that new branch. Of course, I forgot the git commit here. Okay, so now it's tracking the change to the readme.md file. So we're already assuming that we've made our changes and we don't have any hotfixes to apply. So if we had any, this is where we would do some of that work. we might leave this open for a few days to give developers a chance to make those hot fixes that might be out there, some open issues, to resolve those. But we're just going to assume that those things have already been resolved and we have nothing to resolve, so we're going to go ahead and perform the merge of this new release into our current version. So we're checking out the master branch so that we can go ahead and merge our release branch, of course with the no fast forward to preserve that history. And we'll use tab completion to get that version number. Push that sucker in there, and that's a good enough comment, so we'll leave that as the default comment. And you see all the files that get listed there that we've added. And now we will go ahead and tag this 0.1.0. So it's looking for a comment, so we'll just go ahead and write a tag message. Hey, this is our latest version. You might write something more descriptive, like what you actually achieved in this release, or something to that effect. Okay, so now that's tagged. Now we want to go and do the same thing to the stage branch, so that our production environment is, so our development environment is up to date with our current release, so that now developers are working off of the most current release version. So again, the git merge, no fast forward, release dash 0.1.0. Okay. And again, that's a sufficient comment. And then we will go ahead and branch delete. So we're deleting that release version that we had, since we've merged into both the stage branch and the production branch, the master branch there. And now, of course, we have to go ahead and push those changes out to our central repository on GitHub. So we'll do that by performing a git push origin, so that's specifying the GitHub origin, and we'll push the master, and that'll do its magic. And we will also do a git push origin stage, and again that will also do its magic. And there we go. So if we look at our git branch, we should see that we are again working in a clean environment where we have no branches out there that are anything other than the master of the stage. So again, that transient branch, the release branch, was created. We did some work on it, committed it, merged into the master and stage, deleted it, and then now we're at the clean state again where we're at. So you can just verify that by running a git status command on, since we're currently committed to stage, nothing's changed there. You can do the same thing to check out on master, to make sure there aren't any lingering files that for some reason didn't get pushed out to the central repository on GitHub. And that covers how to handle new release branches under Git. Our final topic for this discussion is that of the hotfix branch. So a hotfix is any change that you need to make to the code that's fixing some type of bug that was discovered. And it can be any kind of bug. It could be something to do with the user interface or something to do with the code that's underlying the system. Hotfix branches always come off of the master or production environment, because it's something that's broken and that you're not able to fix under the development branch. And they're always merged back into the stage or the development branch and the master. That way the developers have all the bug fixes or hot fixes available to them while they're doing development, and then obviously the production environment under master branch gets the benefit of any bug fixes or hot fixes that are introduced. And hot fixes are always labeled hotfix-x.y.z, where again the X is the major version of the software, the Y is the minor version of the software, and the Z is the increment of the next hotfix that we're addressing with this particular branch. So the commands to perform a hotfix are pretty straightforward, very similar to the release commands. So you perform a git checkout-b to create a new hotfix branch labeled hotfix-x.y.z, and you take that off of the, or branch it off of the master branch. The next, we're simply going to perform that echo again that appends the readme.md file that displays in GitHub as the main project file, and just say that, hey, we're adding a new hotfix version x.y.z. The next step is to go ahead and commit that change the readme.md file with this following command here, and then we perform any actions needed for the bug fixing. So this might require multiple commits. It could be something as simple as changing one line of code, or it could be changing lines of code to multiple files. So you want to have your commits as many commits as you need to express what it is you're trying to accomplish. It could very simply be a single commit though. Once you're done with the actual bug fixing and your hotfix is ready to be published, the next step is to commit all those changes. Again, so that would assume that you've done your commits along the way, so that's kind of a unnecessary line there. But then we perform the merging aspect of this. So we check out the master branch, then we merge into that master branch with the no fast forward flag, the name of the hotfix, and then the next step is to add a tag and annotate that tag with the current version that we've incremented. So typically you're going to have, in our particular case, we'll have a version 0.1.1, which is incremented from the 0.1.0 tag we had previously. And then the next step is to merge into the stage branch. So you'll check out again the stage branch and finally merge into the hotfix into that stage branch. And then finally, since we performed all our merges, we can go ahead and delete the hotfix branch that we created, and then again we have to push those changes both to the master and to the stage branches so that that is captured in the central repository, where again people can pull it down either for their production environment or for their development environments. So our example is going to show a simple change to an update script that I've created to help pull our database down and keep our production database current with our development environment. So for starters, we are in the local environment, and we are going to change our directory to one level up where I have the script stored. So the script itself is labeled update Drupal.sh or shell. So that's there. So anyways, we know what fix we need to apply. So we're going to go ahead and create ourselves a new branch. Checkout -b to check out and create the new branch for the hotfix we're doing. And in this case, we are at version 0.1, and we are creating a hotfix that's going to increment us up to 0.1.1. And we're going to merge, we're going to branch this off of the master or the production branch. So now we've created that and switched to the hotfix branch, and we will go ahead and annotate in our readme.md file what exactly it is that we're doing. So this is hotfix version 0.1.1, and that is in the readme.md file. Alright. The next step is then we're going to go ahead and commit that change and simply say, hey, we released a new hotfix 0.1.1. Alright, and Git goes ahead and tells us that we've added and committed that change to that file. The next step is we actually have to perform our bug fixing. So in this case, we'll go ahead and edit our update.drupal.sh file. And the bug that we'll call it here is that I've left in this set-x command, which is simply making bash be very verbose in the script. So it's printing out all the commands as they're executed exactly as they're being interpreted by bash. So I'm just going to comment that out, since we don't need to be so verbose, I suppose, for our shell execution all the time. So we'll comment that out and leave the debugging piece out of it, and that is our bug fix. So now we can see that under git status we now have a modified file, which is that update.drupal.shell file. And we're done. That was our bug fix. It was as simple as that, just something very, very benign. And so what we're going to do now is to add that change and git commit -m, and our comment's just going to be commented out debug statement. Alright, and now we can see with the git status call we have nothing to commit and our working directory is clean. So we will go ahead and proceed with simply merging this into both our master branch and our stage branch. So first thing to do is to check out our master branch, and then the next step is to merge with the no fast forward flag again, our hotfix to there, and we're good with that. Alright, and then we have to make sure that we don't forget to update our tag. So in this case, tag-a, and our annotation is that it's version 0.1.1. Hotfix applied, commented. Now we don't even, I guess we can put it in there however descriptive you want to be. So that's just what is the tag message we're putting in there. So this is basically the update to our what is the hotfix that we put in there. That's all we're describing. So a summary of all your commits that you made before to create your to fix your bug that you found. So let's clear the screen here for you. The next step finally is to do a git checkout of the stage, and we're going to merge. So now we've checked out the stage branch, we're going to merge our hotfix into the stage branch as well. So a git merge with the no fast forward flag, the hotfix branch, and that is good enough. So we are going to commit that message, and finally we delete our hotfix branch, and Git allowed us to do that without any problems. And we can just verify that we are in a clean, well, again, okay, so the origin stage is behind by 5 commits, or our current copy of the stage branch is ahead of the origin stage branch by 5 commits. And we'll fix that by pushing it, but we can also check what branches are currently open, and currently it's just master and stage. Now if you were working on multiple projects and you just had to do a hotfix, you would have branched off from the master, done your hotfix, and you could have left other branches open here. So you could have multiple branches open on your local development environment, but only worry about committing this current hotfix, I suppose. So at any rate, we have a clean Git branch. The next step is to push this to, just push this up to the central repository. So git push origin master, and git push origin stage, and it does its magic there, and that's it. So we've gone over how to add feature branches, how to add release branches, and finally how to add hotfix branches. So hopefully this is kind of enlightening as to how we can what presented here with the transient feature branch, release branch, and hotfix branch should enable teams of developers to collaborate on code without stepping on each other's feet so much in a single branch, like for example doing all of your work in a master branch. This is just a way of alleviating all the headaches associated with merging onto a single branch all at once. And of course, feature branches can be developed constantly and pushed constantly to that development or the staging branch. But release branches, you would want to set milestones with your team and say, hey, we have X number of goals of these features to be added before we set a release. And then hotfixes will come up whenever a customer highlights something to you or you find some severe bug in your code. So that's a summary of what we've talked about. Hopefully this was a valuable screencast, and I guess we'll see you again next time. Thanks.